So we're in the game, guys. Looks like they did remake. Looks like Sobek, Athena, Vamana, and Thor are banned out here. Bacchus, Fenrir, and Hercules already picked up. And we are underway. Snackbeard and Death Angel 124 picking up some gods for their team. Poseidon gets picked up there, as well as Honor. So very strong damage lineup right off the bat.
So we're going to see Hercules come back in here again. We saw him before last game doing a lot of work. That stun, it's so good giving him that CC. Fenrir getting picked up, as well as Bacchus on the other side here. Vamana ban, that's something at least relatively uncommon.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Vamana banned probably since January, way back when Vamana was very, very powerful before his ultimate got nerfed and then his base damage got nerfed as well. We're going to see Arnie and Guanyu being picked up here. Looks like they have a pretty strong lineup thus far. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Bacchus. Bacchus is kind of hit or miss whether they like him or not. It seems to be more of a personal preference thing than it is, a root decision that's just, this character is awesome. Loki's going to be picked up here. Possibly looks like they want to do this instead of the Agni. Now, Loki, again, one of those hit or miss characters where some teams like him, some teams don't.
Yeah, indeed, and they are going to, looks like they're going to be going for Loki and Guanyu here. They're picking up their second support tank to go up with Bacchus. Gotta wonder if they're going to stick with the Loki, because they are. So, between Loki and Fenrir, somebody here is going to be sitting in a lane, because they got two very typical jungle characters. I'm kind of curious to see what direction they decide to go with those two.
Freya's gonna possibly be picked up here. Looks like she's on the table, and that means that Hercules will probably be the solo lane instead of a jungle. Hercules can jungle effectively. Hades possibly. Now, Hoonbots there will be their jungler then. And Amir looks like they're just kind of trolling around with their pickups. Of course, on the right side of the screen, you will see Team Dutch. The left side of the screen, you will see Team Dillon. So that is going to be the lineup for this matchup here. I'm sorry, Dillon's going to be on the right side of the screen, and left side of the screen will be Dutch. Apparently, I can't see. I'm blind. I'm seeing squid hats everywhere I look.
Squid hats just filling your soul with greatness. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and lock in Neath for their final pick here. So they got a lot of physical damage on team whatever's on the right. So that's going to be something a little interesting between Fenrir.
Team Dillon is on the right, and most likely will actually have a Loki in the middle lane since they do have a Fenrir.
Yeah, and that's what I'm guessing, because he is very capable of holding down that middle lane by himself. Probably going to have Fenrir in the jungle and then Guanyu in the solo, because Neath Bacchus, a very, very powerful combo that we've seen slowly starting to come back. Used to be something that showed up all the time. Now less common, but still incredibly strong.
Definitely so. So the final lineup is going to be Emir, Honor, Hercules, Hoonbots, and Poseidon for Team Dutch. Team Dillon on the right side of the screen, you see Loki, Guanyu, Bacchus, Neath, and Fenrir. And that's going to be the final locked-in strategy and composition for both these teams here. Again, this is the first semifinal round of the Code Green Tournament number 4. We're going to be heading into the match. We're going to take a brief 2-minute pause here to let the teams get into game. Of course, we are on the spectator delay system. The game is already underway, and we have to wait for a bit of a delay so that the stream is not in line with the game, so there is no cheating or any kind of spectating involved with that. So we're going to wait for that time to go. We're going to put a timer up on screen for you to adjust yourself, get a drink, and be ready for the match. And as soon as the action is ready to go, we'll bring it directly to you. So stick around and be ready. This is the first semifinal round, best of 1, and a lot is on the line here. Hey! Everyone, welcome back to the action. We are watching Team Dutch up against Team Dillon, the first semifinal round of this Code Green Tournament number 4. We are already in the game and ready to go. As you can see, the players are heading out. Let's go and cover who's playing what and where they are going. For Team Dutch, the blue team, the bottom side of the map, we are watching On Her, played by Death Angel 124, heading out into the jungle. Next to him will be Hoonbots, the monkey, the only monkey in Smite right now. Tribes with a Z is going to be playing that Hoonbots. Next to him will be Hercules, played by Snackbeard. And behind him will be Emir, played by Lou DZ, and Supersonic 71699 on Poseidon, heading behind, leading up the rear. Team Dillon, the red team, the top side of the map actually is going to be E What's Up on Bacchus, still sitting well, getting his drank on. We're going to have Fenrir, played by Kirito111 in the left side of the jungle, as well as XT Snipes with a Z playing Neath. Next to him will be Peckies on Loki in the middle lane, most likely. And of course, Undead Pilot on Guanyu. That's going to be the final lineup for both these teams. I'm joined today by Squidditch. Can there be blood? Will there be blood?
Mid lane Loki. Mid lane Loki is a fantastic god to just smash the faces of his enemies when up against a Poseidon here. I mean, very interesting because they're both very, very, very strong 100-0 burst characters. So that's going to make for some very interesting fights. And even more interesting, Loki is going hard, starting with his Heartseeker. Like, just Heartseeker and potions. Screw boots. I don't need them. I want to beat people with this spiky stick. And you will, Loki. Don't worry. You will.
It's kind of reminiscent of about 4 months ago. We saw Loki do the same exact thing. He picked up his decoy and leveled up quite quickly, and then went for the Heartseeker in the middle lane, and basically just used the decoy to farm effectively all the way up until the Heartseeker was stacked, and then literally all you had to do was just jump in and burst down the enemy magic burst character. So it's very easy for them to kind of just jump on and hurt them, finish them off immediately before they can react, and then head back to the lane and keep on farming. So we're going to see Fenrir kind of go over here, clear out this jungle camp for the Guan Yu, which will be soloing up against the Hercules. So we're going to see again another Guan Yu Hercules solo lane, which seems to be the theme for today.
It really looks like it's been going that direction so far. I'm really interested. There's going to be a lot of action for sure going down in this mid lane here, just because we have two very high murder burst damage gods. And I'm waiting to see them start trying to go ham on each other. You can already see Poseidon taking a pretty good amount of damage from the minions, getting dropped to just above half health. And it looks like he's going to go home already, actually. Probably to finish up his Doom Orb, because he did the same thing Loki did. I just started off with the super stacking at him. So we got two burst damage mids that are just going full nuclear on each other, and stuff is going to happen, and it's going to be awesome.
Actually did not finish out the Doomer, went home, picked up 2 wards as well as a teleport, sold all of his consumables, just make sure that the ward is here. He's actually going to spot out the Loki who was on his side of the jungle with that ward, and going to head back in here. Poseidon's actually a higher level than Loki at this current point. Loki missed a few minions, whereas Poseidon got the full wave by teleporting back to the lane. Hoonbot's going to run into the Fenrir here in the jungle, drop him quite low. The teleport does not land from the Sacred Monkey, but a few hits will finish him off. One more hit will do it, but Fenrir picks up the speed as one miss from the base attack from the Hoonbots will put him in slow mode from his base attacks. Frost Breath comes out from the mirror. There is the Glacial Strike. Overhand Smash lands, dropping about 75% HP, and the Whirlpool Tidal Sword to drop him even lower, but Bacchus sits on top of Poseidon. He actually pops his beads there. Not exactly sure what the thought process was, possibly wanted to avoid the counter follow-up from that Loki, but again, going to pop that 4-minute cooldown beads right off the bat.
Now, thought process is probably, I would prefer that a Shiv was not shoved up my butt, because he does not want to get stunned and then blown up by the Loki there. Even though he does not have his ultimate available, Loki is still very capable of doing a ton of damage with his ultimate. And Guan Yu actually, did he just get 1v1 in the right lane down by Hercules? Because it looked like Homebots was rotating, but didn't look like he got there quite yet.
Comes initiation on the Guan Yu, take damage from the minions, actually getting hit on pretty hard here. There's the dash. Hercules hits level 5 and possibly going to go throughout the roll. There's the boulder to land right on top of the Guan Yu and smash him down as he gets pancaked into the ground. Hit level 5 at the very end of that engagement, and Guan Yu just took a little bit too much from the minions.
Yep, just got beaten down one by one from 1v1 from the Hercules there. Very good play, picking up the first blood for Team Dutch over the solo lane. That's not something we see terribly often. There is the Kraken coming out. Not a solid hit on Loki, though, so he didn't take a ton of damage from it. It's not going to finish him off. Loki is going to be totally fine. But Poseidon is not in a great place, because now Loki knows his Kraken is on cooldown, and Loki's ultimate definitely is not.
Yeah, very easy for him to just counter-initiate, especially even when both ultimates are on or off cooldown. He can go ahead and when the Kraken comes out, just blink on top of the Poseidon, who most often is not inside of his own ultimate, using it at a bit of a range. So he can teleport out of the Poseidon ultimate while also hitting his own on Poseidon. So a very good combination there for the Loki, able to teleport away. Loki has the Heartseeker finished up, whereas Poseidon has yet to finish it off. Going to be heading home, most likely to be finishing off that Doom Orb and get those stacks up. Hopefully he has enough to get that teleport back, as we see a lot of players utilizing. We see 2 teleports up for Team Dutch here. Hercules and Hoonbots both have teleports, and Poseidon's going to go ahead and pick up that teleport. Actually still has yet to finish the Doom Orb, so having a very tough time keeping up in farm here.
It's very interesting. He's spending a lot of money on those teleport scrolls to keep himself in lane, and he's sacrificing punching power for it, because as you said, he's not able to finish this Doom Orb. I mean, he's doing good in experience. He's ahead of Loki in level, but all his gold is getting dumped into consumables, so he hasn't really had anything to start the party with yet. He can't get that Doom Orb finish. He needs to get that done so he can start getting stacks, so he can do that crazy Poseidon burst damage we all know and love. Loki going in with the stealth here. He is going to miss on the Poseidon, though, and decide to just turn around and tear down some minions.
Hoonbot's looking for an opportunity to gank the right-hand lane on top of this Guan Yu. There is the Hoonbot's ultimate. Right as the Guan Yu ultimate pops his ultimate, going after the Hercules. Hercules has no mana or HP to deal with this. There's the Sacred Monkeys. They have the Overpan Smash. He has no mana. A few hits. He's diving the tower. Is it going to be enough? Guan Yu's so tanky. He can't even jump out here. Going to take 3 tower shots and drop down to 130 HP. But Loki and Fenrir are here. Hoonbots is in so much trouble. There is the Assassinate. And Assassinate he does as Hoonbots gets put into the dirt. And Hercules kind of hangs out. Neath ultimate coming out on top of the Hercules as the jump in from Fenrir plus the Brutalize will be enough. No, he gets stunned out and Fenrir dies in the tower. Poseidon coming around this title surge. The Kraken is released. Poseidon's here trying to do some damage, but Loki gets out with the Vanish. And an incredible exchange. Going to be a 1v2 there, a 1-for-2 exchange as Hoonbots and Hercules die, but Fenrir gets taken out by the auto stun from Hercules.
And that does pull it up to 2-2 and a 200 gold advantage for Team Dutch. So, like, literally nothing. A couple wards is the gold advantage right now. So it is dead even after that engage. I don't feel like that Loki ult was entirely necessary because Hoonbots was mostly dead and Fenrir was right there. But it did absolutely secure the kill and make sure he had no way to get away. But I think if he'd saved it to pop on the Hercules, they might have been able to tear him down a little bit quicker and maybe not have had to have lost anyone to Poseidon's rotation.
See Hoonbots clean out this damage buff in the jungle as Hercules kind of pushes up the right-hand lane. Fenrir doing the exact same thing. They're on the same side of the jungle. As the item situation kind of progresses forward, we'll see Poseidon pick up that Doom Orb. Finally, Guan Yu is going to go for the Mystical Mark build, while Hercules goes for more of a damage build with that Warrior Top. He's still sitting on that teleport. I like this situation from the Hercules, able to just kind of sit in the right lane if any of his teammates need help. Speaking of which, is On Her kind of goes down in the left-hand lane there. I want to see On Her or Ymir get chased down by the Neath box. See exactly how that ended up progressing as we back up here. Of course, that Guan Yu will be following over there in the right lane. On Her coming from the right side of the jungle, going to go into the back side of the Neath and the Bacchus. They both have their ultimates available to them, so that is something to look forward to. Actually, Neath does not have her ultimate. They're going to come from the back side. The Frostbreath most likely will come out underneath. There's the Spearow, realizing the On Her's there, taking a lot of damage. The Belly Flop comes out intoxicated as well. There's the Impale, doesn't afraid to come out as well, but a few hits and the backflip away from the minion damage will be enough. 3 archers just railing into as well as 2 melee minions. We're going to see Ymir kind of get taken. And right lane, we see the gank on top of the Guan Yu getting taken out by the Hoonbots and the Hercules. So overall, 1-for-1 exchange, but Fenrir might be looking for it. No, Fenrir's going to go ahead and back off here. Loki going on the Poseidon? No. So I have a 1-for-1 exchange overall in the left lane and the right lane. It looks like it's going to be a 2-3-3 advantage here as Poseidon goes down the middle lane and Loki as well.
That mid lane, the Neath ultimate. Oh. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts me in the soul. Yeah, Neath ultimate came out as he pulled back into his tower there, allowing him, Loki to go, and Loki was not going to let that opportunity go away. Ulted right onto Poseidon's face, tore him a new bumhole. But Poseidon, in his deathbed, threw out the Kraken, doing a ton of damage to Loki and stunning him long enough for that last tower shot that he just had no way to get away from. So just an unfortunate one there, kind of a straight across trade. Fighting in every lane as Hoonbots goes around to try and gank the left lane. Didn't really go as well as he'd planned, though, as Neath is able to simply backflip over Ymir's wall.
Poseidon getting shot at by archers here as he kind of sits in the middle lane. It has some catching up to do with that Doom Orb, but of course he got that very, very late, so those stacks will not come easy in compared to the Loki, who's probably pretty close to max on those Heartseeker stacks. He got that quite quickly. As you mentioned, Squidge picked it up right off the bat and then finished it as soon as he possibly could, and didn't buy any teleports either. So.
But he also just died, so I mean he's at 25 stacks
fair enough,
tops.
fair enough.
So
got hit by the tower.
So he's not. Neither of them are going to have a ton of stacks on their stacking items there. As Fenrir jumps over, just like Poseidon's like, uh-oh, that's a dog, wrong part of town. I think Fenrir, maybe if he would have rotated around there, he does have his ult available. If he'd gone around instead of jumping right over that wall, they may have been able to pick up that Poseidon pretty quickly. They're just did a double ult and the burst damage, but decided to jump over and make sure they got that mid camp instead. I guess just go with the safe bet, the safe gold XP rather than going in for a gank there.
Yeah, I just want to get that little bit of experience, a little bit of gold to kind of build it up. I mean, this game is dead even. I mean, they were about 200 gold away between these two teams. Team Dillon taking a small gold lead here at the 8.5-minute mark, 4-4, 8 total kills. We're actually getting a kill per minute thus far. So very, very interesting, exciting games to be watching. And it's, it's something that you see in most tournaments, especially, more credit to the fact that this is built around a matchmaking system around the Tiermonster rating. Obviously, these games get closer and closer. I mean, these games tend to be very, very close towards the final. We're going to see them kind of linger around the same amount of golden experience. The question is, who's going to pull ahead and how are they going to do it?
That is the question. I think it's going to be answered by who is going to start the next big fight, and more importantly, who is going to win it. As both teams are going to have a pretty strong team fight. They've both got gods that can lay down a lot of area damage, but in a big straight 5v5 fight, I'd have to give the advantage to Team Dutch. Just not only do they have the Poseidon and the obvious Kraken nuke, they have the Homebot's ultimate as well. Whereas Team Dillon doesn't have any AoE ultimates, but they're tanks, which doesn't do that much damage. We got the Rock coming out, and speaking of Homebot's ult, there it is in the right lane. The Kraken comes out as well, but Guan Yu very tanky, just able to sponge it up with his forehead, not really care a whole lot. He's getting knocked very low. They're going to try to tower dive him. Hercules misses the Earthbreaker, misses the driving strike, and is going to be forced to just pull out there and let him go home. So unfortunately, nothing really happened, but now Hercules is stuck behind everyone, kind of hanging out, as Loki and Fenrir are like, bro, what are you doing? And kill him. Not positive what Hercules was going for there. Now Baka's going to land Belch of the Gods here with the stun. Neath Ultimate is going to come out as well on the Homebots. He's going to get stunned with the Belly Club miss. Intoxicate doing a lot of damage. He's dropping pretty low, but Ymir's going to come behind him and drop his freeze. But almost all of Team Dillon is here. I don't see any way he's going to get away, and he certainly is not after that Brutalize. Another Belch of the Gods on Ymir's going to land the stun and the Whirlpool and the decoy there. Poseidon trying to save his life, but the Fenrir Ultimate is just too much, as Loki's aim strike is able to finish him off. And they pick up 3 kills for free there on Team Dillon.
Yeah, playing excellent there, now taking a 3-kill advantage, 7-4 here at the 10.5-minute mark, already pulling ahead 2,000 gold. So again, it comes down to this next big engagement, as you mentioned there, Squiddish, and Team Dillon will be the ones to do it. Unfortunately enough, Poseidon did not have his ultimate available to him in that team fight. As you see, 4 players from Team Dillon clustering in through a threshold area, just kind of walking through that corner alleyway, an opportunity to use that Kraken to do a lot of damage, and even finish off the Loki, which of course has that Heartseeker with those stacks able to be removed from him. So it had definitely an opportunity there, but didn't have his team fight ultimate available as his team, which is being picked off one by one. So Team Dillon's ahead now, but definitely not too far ahead, about 1.8k now, as Team Dutch is farming. We see Hoonbot's heading back into the jungle trying to get this all cleared up. We look at the item situation. Looks like Fenrir's going to be going for Devourer's Gloves as Hoonbots goes over the damage buff and realizes it's gone and puts a sad face on, heads back into the middle lane. But again, Devourer's Gloves for Fenrir is not an item we see too often.
Not really, because he's got enough lifesteal naturally from his Howl, from his 2, gives him a ton of lifesteal, especially when he pops it with max runes. You don't really usually need to build a lifesteal item on him, but getting that extra bit of lifesteal is definitely going to help him out. It's not going to hurt at all, that's for sure. Loki coming in, trying to run down the Homebots here, lands the M-Strike. Homebots ultimate is going to come out. The Kraken just barely scrapes Loki with the end. The Kraken just not quite on target here. And now Loki wants his Poseidon. He's going to ult, doing so much damage. Poseidon just blown up by the Loki as Honor rotates around, just lands an Impale on the dog, just pushing him back, though, not doing a whole lot. Here comes the Hercules Rock. It's going to bounce around and also not do a whole lot, as they manage to tear down the Loki before he can pull away. And now Honor just dumping a ton of damage. Ymir ult, forcing everybody out of the jungle there. I don't think they're going to be able to pick up either of these guys. Oh, stun on the Bacchus, possibly. No, he's going to jump away. He's going to be all right. So it's just going to be a straight across 1-for-1 there. With the Loki and the Poseidon getting torn down.
Hercules heading over to this side where Guan Yu's kind of taking away the Furies. Hercules is probably going to deal. Yep, the Earthbreaker takes both of those away. So all that work that Guan Yu just put in was completely lost on those middle camps. We're going to see a tier 3 Hand of the Gods being finished off by Hercules. 3 Hand of the Gods are being secured for Team Dillon. Most likely, or hopefully anyway, that one of those is turned to the Hand of the Gods for the stun, for Fist of the Gods for the stun there. But, you know, tier 3 Hand of the Gods are going to be able to secure those objectives. Getting that early, for those of you who don't know the statistics on the Hand of the Gods, tier 1 is a 480 true damage nuke to minions, as well as objectives, the Gold Fury and the Fire Giant. Tier 2 is a 10% finish or execute on the objectives, and Tier 3 is a 25% execute on those objectives. So you get that very early. A quarter of the objective's HP is all you need to be able to finish it off and secure it for yourself, which if the enemy team isn't prepared to do that, it's very easy to take those away.
And that makes for very easy steals as well. So, I mean, that 25% nuke, that's a lot of HP, especially on the Fire Giant. 25% of the Fire Giant's health is a lot. That's a lot of fighting. Loki trying to come in here and get a couple free camps, but Homebots is going to just kind of poke him a little bit and irritate him. Loki looked like he wanted to go for that, then turned the corner and saw Poseidon and decided that probably was not in his best interest before he just kind of went back down lane. Right lane, we got Hercules and Guan Yu slapping each other. Left lane, we got On Her and Need slapping each other, and everyone is content to just kind of go back to the status quo and back to just farming around.
Yeah, we see that slap contest coming out in the solo lane between these two players. Loki's kind of in the enemy jungle, looking for opportunity to jump on the Poseidon. Looks like the Whirlpool is on the ground. Let's go ahead and actually just disengage here. The ward is on the ground, so they have good vision. Both teams being very, very adamant about their placement. Actually, this wall will prevent this ward from being seen by that sentry ward. Loki on the opposite side should run into the Amir, who just wants for that. It's extra credit Amir Day. Just wants to go to the enemy jungle and try to catch some players out here. Humbot's going to be clearing out the blue buff, most likely for one of the solo laners, or maybe even the support tank. Will actually doesn't have a buff on himself, maybe able to pick this up himself as he is low on mana. No, he's going to leave it on the ground, probably for the Hercules. Emir's already out, looking at the middle lane. Loki's going to jump into the side and finish him off there with a Poseidon ultimate going down, and Fenrir running interference, and the Emir is forced to just run away there.
So much burst damage, that Poseidon just getting blown up. Again, Loki just hurts so bad. So much pain Loki's able to put out, and especially about the Fenrir and Bacchus. I mean, there's pretty limited amount Poseidon could do to get away from that one. Pretty much a free kill they're able to pick up. And Dillon's starting to eke out a bit of a lead here, getting about 1,700, or 2,700, sorry, gold in advance here. Just right around there. Guan Yu managed to push Herc back onto his tower as well, so he's winning the push war in his right lane. Hercules is going to be losing a pretty decent amount of gold, but he's pretty high up right now. I mean, he's not going to be terribly concerned about losing the gold from a wave or two, because right now he is a good bit ahead of Guan Yu, sitting about 800 gold ahead of him. So in the grand scheme of things, definitely doing a little bit on that lane. We see Loki trying to get all in Ymir, but Ymir just says no. Stop, please.
The wall of nope comes out and stops Loki from chasing him down there. Checking on that item situation where we see a Doom Orb, but finish off Poseidon, of course, goes for the penetration boots, and then Wall of Absolution. You gotta love this Wall of Absolution pickup for the Poseidon as you see Loki, Fenrir, as well as Neith on enemy team. Speaking of Neith, we see Neith actually get a solo kill on Hoonbots over here in the left-hand lane. If we can back up and check out that action, we see Hoonbots running into the Bacchus here, looking for opportunity to clear out the jungle camps that don't exist. Maybe the Neith is actually gonna go after the on her. Hoonbots comes back around, the Belch of the Gods dropped about half HP. Vendor jumps over the wall. Oh, he's going to pick it up with an ultimate. There's the ultimate right atop him as the Hoonbots ultimate comes out and forces Bacchus away. So Hoonbots will die in tower range while Neith does literally nothing except for ultimate and gets the kill. As we see an engagement start here in the jungle.
And Ymir is getting blown up. There goes the Rockules, but it's not enough for anything there. Bacchus is going to chase him down now. Herc, you are not allowed to just throw rocks at my friends. Loki going out with a stealth. We see the beads coming out from Hercules. Land the stun, but the ultimate comes out from Loki right as the beads are over, doing a ton of damage. No amount of wound mitigation is going to stop that one. They are bringing the nuke truck, and they are mad. Lots of damage coming out there, and they're able to just tear down both of Team Dutch's tanks like tissue paper.
13-5 now in favor of Team Dillon. As you can see, the tissue paper effect goes right into the enemy jungle, and they're going to get free kills there. About 5,000 gold up now. Make that 6.6k after the gold 3 gets finished off by Team Dillon. So they're sitting pretty right now. They're in a good spot to hold on to the middle game, as well as the mini-map vision. Able to control that area will mean that they can control the enemy jungle buffs as well as their own on top of objectives. The Fire Giant may be contested soon if they can win another big team fight. Checking back in with Adam's situation, we see Guan Yu buying his first tier of boots. Does have the tier 3 girdle for his team to assist out the assassins like Loki, Fenrir, and Neith. I like the pickup with the girdle of Mike and be able to just amplify their damage as much as they possibly can. Just able to get that burst off, which is really how they're operating right now.
And Guan Yu going for that very standard solo lane Mark into Mark of the Vanguard into Mystical Mark, the build of Marks. And while Hercules was getting blown up in the jungle, Guan was just over in his lane pushing away and was able to take that tower down. So we've seen the first tower of the game get dropped by Guan Yu on his own, just pushing unopposed there. Bacchus kind of deep in the enemy jungle. Fat drunk man lost his way at night, not really sure where he's going. In a pretty bad part of town, so he's going to head on home before something unpleasant happens to him. Here in the left lane, because I haven't looked over there in a while, it's kind of just been Neith going ham farming. I mean, it's sort of been the left lane right now. Neith hasn't really showed up to a whole lot. She's thrown her ult into things, but she's kind of just been over here farming the whole time, and it's getting her a pretty decent gold lead. She's got more gold than anybody on Team Dutch, just from sitting over here doing her thing. Loki in the jungle, possibly about to run into Hoonbots and Poseidon. Oh, they're going to get pinched off with Guan Yu here. Here comes the tidal wave, as well as the whirlpool, but not enough. Guan Yu ultimate is going to come out after his girdle, and the ult from Loki as well, but they're on two different targets. Loki ults Hoonbots, while Guan Yu ults Poseidon. Hunbot's still torn down, though. The Neath ult is going to come out on Poseidon. That's going to be more than enough to get them to finish him off there. Hercules pulling Loki into tower range and then throwing the Rock of Justice, but the Aegis is enough to eat it there. Intoxicate comes out, and everyone is on a manhunt right now. They wanted that Loki, but Honor is going to get torn down for his greed. Now Ymir chasing the whole team by himself. He wants it. He's going to drop the ult. Is it actually going to work? No, he's dead. So, that's just you, Hercules.
The burst damage was too much. He got a triple stun, even got a bonus stun on Loki, who was invisible at the time, so had no idea he was going to get a free stun there. There goes the shell as they go into the tower. The tower's going to come down after a bunch of kills. 3 kills in total with no deaths in return. So Team Dillon taking a dominant lead here in the middle game, as the teams were completely evenly matched in the middle, or in the laning phase, in the early phase as well. I mean, 4-4, dead even on gold as we head towards the 8-minute mark. But now at the 19-minute mark, 11 minutes later, we see Team Dillon up about 14,000 gold, 17-5. Team Dillon was waiting for their moment to shine, and they have seized the limelight, and they're heading out here to take out the objectives. The Fire Giant is still available. They're going to clear out the far left lane and the middle lane. The only tower standing outside of the Phoenix is going to be the right side tier 2 tower, and beyond that, I mean, Team Dillon is so far ahead, but keep in mind, none of the towers for Team Dillon have fallen yet, so it's a lot of golden experience for Team Dutch to capitalize on if they get a team fight win and push those in.
You make a good point. 10 minutes ago, these teams were completely even. And if you want to really put into perspective what's happened the last 10 minutes, it was 4-4 10 minutes ago. So in that last 10 minutes, Dillon has picked up 13 kills, while Dutch got 1. So, I mean, that has turned around every fight since then. Has just gone so strongly in Team Dillon's favor. Being able to mop up so well. Hercules getting caught out and destroyed by that Loki burst damage, combined with the Guan Yu here. Loki starting his very own level 20 party, and the next highest in the lobby is Neath at 17. Loki is so fat! He's at 10-2 right now with almost 12,000 gold, while the highest on Team Dutch is at 7,500. That's huge! He is the fattest little fatty that was ever fat.
Yeah, he's really, really farmed at this point. Of course, when you have assassins with good follow-up with your teammates, I mean, Bacchus and Guan Yu making a good platform for those assassins going. There's the Hunbot's ultimately going to jump away. The Brutalize is coming to come out on top of the Hunbot's in tower range. The Ragnarok probably avoids that, bring him out of tower range. No HP, no mana. Here comes the assassination, and there it is. The Shiv and the biting from the dog are going to be enough to burn him down there. The Hunbot's will fall 19-5. Again, very, very strong performance here from Team Dillon. A lot of it comes from the towers, but the kills as well. There goes a freeze on Bacchus. And a mere ultimate just to send a message, but of course not sending any damage as they go ahead and disengage. Now an opportunity to get the Fire Giant, as they do have the Hunbots down. A big team fight ultimate for them with that big fear and damage burst. Ymir's kind of heading out here, and Poseidon and Honor come out. The question is, are they going to be able to get there in time? Hercules does have the tier 3 Hand of the Gods as well as Ymir, so they have the opportunity to steal us away if they get there in time, but they're just not getting out of the well. They're going to be heading out. They're clearing the minions as they get a free Fire Giant. As Poseidon dies to just Loki in the jungle, and now they have a Fire Giant buff to boot.
Loki just almost 100-0'd Poseidon with his ult. Like, just his ult did about 80% of Poseidon's health. I mean, that's how farmed he is right now. You can see Poseidon going into a wall of absolution. You see Void Blades coming out on Hercules and Hunbots. You see the Breastplate of Valor on Ymir. Everybody is just building physical protection because Loki. Not even Loki. The second most farm player in the lobby is Fenrir. Not even Fenrir. The third most farm player in the lobby is Neath. Like I was saying before we went in here, they have so much physical damage, and this would be. I mean, I feel like they could do a lot to shut this down. But I mean, Void Blades, yeah, that's cool. You're going into that now. Breastplate of Valor, Wall of Absolution on Poseidon. If they would maybe dive in for like a hard physical protection item, they might be able to mitigate virtually all of Team Dillon's damage.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, really, it's just Bacchus and Guan Yu who, start to fall off towards the late stages of the game. So a small amount of protections for magic, but the physical damage is really what it is. And it's not just physical damage, but it's assassination damage. It's burst damage. So if you get, enough physical protection and HP to avoid that, as well as even, the high enemy line, as you mentioned, able to reflect some of it back, or maybe even, the shell, the spiked shell, might be enough to burn down the squishy assassins that are just getting so much burst damage. And they capitalize really on the positioning, I mean, you have the Fenrir and Loki, which are so good at just getting in, lots of burst damage and getting out, and that's how they're winning this game. As you can see right on the Hunbots using his ultimate trying to get out there. There goes the Impale and the Whirlpool to force them back, defending their baby monkey, heading back into Phoenix range. But again, we're going to see a 5v5 attempt here towards this Phoenix. The question is, did they try to pressure it down, do a split push, or even fall back and get the Gold Fury?
Kind of interested to see what they do here for themselves. I don't think they're going to go for the Gold Fury, most likely because they don't need it. I mean, they have so much gold right now, it's not a big deal to them. They are just going to kind of rotate over a Phoenix, and Team Dutch is going to shuffle over with them. Just kind of follow them around here. It looks like they are going to push in here. They're going to go ham on this Phoenix. Ultimate's coming out left, right, and center as Fenrir is blown up. Guan Yu goes down as well, but they are able to take down Poseidon that on her ultimate, doing a ton of work, picking up 2 kills. They're enabling his team to mop up. So Dillon may be getting a little bit too comfortable with their lead here because they pushed in really hard on that Phoenix and they paid for it.
They certainly did. They lost 2 players there for the Poseidon. Of course, the Poseidon having a tough time. At this point, honestly, I would sell that Doom Orb. He's just not able to get those stacks up and doesn't really have the map positions. But the Phoenix are being pressured, as you can see here right on top of this Phoenix. The Impale comes out as well. Loki going after the Hunbots. Hunbots dropping low. There's the Assassinate to finish him off inside of Minotaur range. The wall comes out to block him in. Now going after this. A freeze would be enough to save him. Hercules dropping quite low. Heads toward the Minotaur. There is the disperse from the on her. Impale as well. They're going after one target. The Loki dropping. So there's a shell, but the on her gets picked off from the burst damage from the Loki. Now go top of the Amir. Amir's just not tanky enough to deal with this kind of burst damage. And there goes the Amir, finishes off there, and now the Minotaur is exposed. The right Phoenix is down. They're going to go for the middle Phoenix now. The surrender vote comes out from Team Dutch. The question is, will it go through, or is it one of those frustrated surrender votes? The Hercules is the only person standing at this current point in time, and there goes the Poseidon respawning now, a 3v2 attempt at this middle Phoenix, and Poseidon doesn't have an ultimate, so the question is, can they defend it? The Whirlpool's going to come out soon. There's the Whirlpool, and he immediately turns around and runs away.
Yeah, not really a whole lot else you can do. Looks like they are pretty split on that surrender. It's not going to go through, though, as Team Dillon decides to just truck around and take down all these Phoenixes. I mean, what are Poseidon and Hercules going to do? Loki is going to... Oh! He barely just taps him there. The Whirlpool is enough to pull him off, so he cannot follow up, but it pushes Poseidon back long enough for them to finish off that Phoenix. And as you can see, in hyper slow motion, Loki just could not get in there and continue hitting because of the peel from that Whirlpool, which is literally the only reason Poseidon's alive right now.
Yeah, it goes to show how much damage an assassin can do to an exposed mage like the Poseidon here. So it's very easy for him to kind of just jump in with just the 3. That's all he did was go for the aim strike and dropped Poseidon's health by half with a single activation and no swing to follow up after. So it's very powerful for him to just kind of come in, finish him off. And you can see, I mean, as you saw over in the side lane before that team fight started, Poseidon got picked off immediately by Loki's assassinate initiation. It's just, Poseidon has to be very careful with his positioning. Hunbots and on her as well. And even Hercules and Amir, who are normally very tanky, just can't deal with how far ahead Loki and Fenrir are.
And that's going to be something that they're really going to have to figure out if they want any chance of coming back here. Because Loki is going in on Ymir. Does not even care if your player description says tank. Loki does not care. Ripping through him like he was butterbeer. Not even caring at all. So much damage coming out from Loki there. Poseidon just trying to push Fenrir back with his tidal wave. The Ragnarok is going to come out. The Kraken is going to go down there. And I think you are totally dead, Hunbots. If you get picked up by Fenrir and carried away at this point in time, your life is over. There goes the Hercules Rock, technically doing damage to a couple people. The Guan Yu ultimate is going to come out on top of the Neath ultimate, and his dash with Neath are going to be enough to finish off Poseidon there. Hercules does manage to tear down Fenrir, but that's all he's going to be able to do as the Minotaur drops to the insane amount of damage Team Dillon is putting out.
Pretty easy cleanup for Team Dillon there, and again, and you can it goes to show how much coordination, positioning, and vision are so important for your overall game effectiveness. We saw the game very even. Team Dutch versus Team Dillon. Again, a reminder: the spectator bug has not been fixed yet. On the right side, the red team, you will see Team Dillon, not Team Predator, as this still has yet to be fixed. But of course, Team Dutch versus Team Dillon, we saw this matchup quite even. I mean, obviously, Dutch and Dillon went head to head. Their gold was completely even. Their kills were completely even, up until the point where the the assassin part started kicking in. Once you have enough penetration and enough mobility, and that first, the first and second item for Loki and Fenrir, it's easy for them to get in and get some kills. And right then, that's when they needed vision. That's when they needed teamwork. That's when they needed positioning to overcome the fact that those burst characters are going to punish you when you're out of position for too long. As you saw Loki and Fenrir pick off Poseidon and Hunbots repeatedly, over and over and over again, to the point where the gold gap getting too big. Poseidon was 1-7 at the end of the game with a Doomar, which gave him, really no. I'm sure he probably had one stack left on that pretty much the entire time, and it just came down to the point where they kind of ran away with the game with they're just too unprepared to deal with it.
And absolutely, what was interesting, like I was saying a little bit before, with all that physical power and physical penetration and all the burst damage the assassins are doing, I mean, Loki and Fenrir kind of rely on burst damage. If they can't get in there and they can't murder you in about 3 seconds, there's not a lot they can really do, because they're very squishy. I mean, Fenrir built his shield, so he's got a little bit of defense on there, but Loki had nothing. So, I guess Void Blade, but that's it. I mean, if Loki would have had to spend 10 seconds tearing somebody down rather than 2, that's more than enough time for the team to just turn around and simply blow up the Loki. He's not, once all his cooldowns are gone, you can even blow him up 1v1 fairly easily. So it's something they could have capitalized on if the squishies on the other team, on Team Dutch, would have invested in a little bit more protection earlier on. Because you don't see a whole lot of super hard penetration coming out from Team Dillon at all, because they didn't really need it.
Yeah, I would have liked to see, an earlier shell, possibly a spiked shell, or something to help the team out with that kind of burst damage, and maybe even just more highly enemy lines. Just kind of just pick up physical defense in the beginning and just play passive. Just farm, push towers when you get the opportunity. Because obviously with a lineup with Loki and Fenrir, if you go towards the late game where team fights are more important, those assassins aren't going to count as much if you can just kind of make it there. Of course, that's the difficult challenge, is how can you get there? And I guess, the best option for them at that point would be just buy physical protection. Hide the enemy lines would have benefited them greatly, and just kind of just sit back and farm until that late stage situation happens, to the point where their team fight overtakes the fact that they're facing up against 2 assassins, and would have been able to benefit greatly from that. But of course, they did not, as we see Team Dillon defeating Team Dutch here at the first semifinal round. The second semifinal round is going to be between Team Predator and Team Blaine. We're going to take a brief break here where we check in on the players and see how that works out for us. So we're going to go ahead and be back in just a minute, guys. So stick around. We'll bring you the action for the next match when it is ready to go.